Hello, friends. Chris Coursey here, president of Thrive Today, and I want to welcome you to the Relational Skills in Real Life podcast. Friends, today's topic is on relational skills and how relational skills save the day. That's right, relational skills save the day. One of the things I enjoy about training and spreading relational skills is seeing the life change that happens in families and marriages and communities, in churches, in leadership teams. Basically, you see this ripple effect start to happen when people learn relational skills that they're missing, or they're strengthening weaknesses that they have in their character in some way. So relational skills pretty much touch every aspect of life: how we feel, how we think, how we behave, how we treat other people, even how we interact with the Lord, how we deal with upsets and strains, how we deal with what we feel, and how we bounce back from upsets. You see, relational skills equip us to be the kind of person who loves well and the kind of person who lives in joy and peace. Friends, you just can't put a price tag on living with joy and peace. And just the other day, I received one of the kindest compliments I've ever received when somebody approached me after one of our skill practice groups here locally. And she came up to me and she said, "Chris, you know what? I just want you to know I always feel better after interacting with you. I feel like you genuinely care about me and you're genuinely glad to be with me." Friends, talk about a compliment. That is just such a gift to hear somebody say that. You see, because one of my prayers, one of my hopes is that I'll be able to live in a way that my character shines and that my character reflects the living God that I love, and that people feel seen, heard, and understood after interacting with me. Friends, what else could you ask for? What a gift that is. People feel valued when they interact with you. You know what? That's part of how the good stuff spreads, is that people just genuinely feel like you're glad to be with them. So think about this. What do you want people to feel when they interact with you? What do you want them to take away? What do you want your friends, your family, your coworkers, your barista, your bank clerk, and so on? What do you want people to feel when they interact with you? Do you want them to feel seen, heard, and understood, and cared for, and respected, and honored? Or do you want them to feel like roadkill? And so basically, relational skills help us to pass on the best of ourselves because, frankly, we're equipped. We're equipped to be present, to be focused, to be tender, to be kind, and to be caring. And throw in a little bit of patience as well. We can be patient with others with relational skills. And so that's our focus for today, friends, is how to really develop the kind of character that you leave a trail of joy and peace in the wake of your life and your relationships. And I remember the time I was a passenger in my car. Actually, one of my friends, Jimmy, was driving my car. We were going fast down the highway. We were actually going back to college after a little time at home. And Jimmy was just coasting down the highway. And I glanced in at the road in front of us, and at the corner of my eye, I saw something in the road. And as we were quickly getting closer to this object in the road, I discovered that it was a big block of wood. Now, I don't know what a big block of wood is doing in the middle of the highway, but this was a big block of wood. And I saw this, and I didn't even have time to utter a word, but in my mind, I had this fleeting thought that said, surely Jimmy sees this big block of wood that we're driving up on. And because Jimmy was going so fast, that big block of wood was really coming up quickly. And sure enough, Jimmy hit the block of wood. That's right. So Jimmy either didn't see it or he didn't have the time and reflexes to move. So he hit this block of wood. The car bumped up and we blew out a tire. Oh, it was scary because then the tire was kind of swerving back and forth. And Jimmy thankfully was able to pull over to the side of the road so that we could assess the damage. And there was some damage. And one of the things that happened is, we were going to need a new tire because the tire and the rim was actually pretty badly damaged at that point. So we weren't going to go anywhere until this was fixed. So thankfully, I know what to do when my car has a flat tire. So we went to the trunk and we pulled out the spare tire and the jack, and we jacked up my car and well, first we loosened the bolts, then we jacked up the car and we removed the tire, and then we put the spare tire on as so that we could continue our drive and basically get home, get back to college. So I knew what to do under those circumstances because I had been trained. So somebody with those skills, my father, showed me what to do when you have a flat tire. He showed me how to remove the old tire and to make sure we get that new spare tire on safe and sound. So these are some important skills that I was thankful I had and I could put those to use. And so why I share this story with you is because I saw a problem, and when I saw the problem, my brain knew what to do, which is avoid that particular block of wood that we were going to hit. And my brain, once we did unfortunately hit this block of tire, my brain also knew what to do to fix the problem that we had. And so I knew how to change the tire so that we could get the spare tire. So, friends, these are actually important relational skills that we need in order to be our best selves. So, we have important relational skills that we need to strengthen and to learn so that we know what to do when things go wrong. And you see, your brain and your nervous system basically are the tires for your body. Anytime your relational tires air gets too low or you have too much air in your tire, you're going to have problems, and you can have blowouts, and you can have ruptures, and you can just things are going to go bad. And so sometimes our nervous system, we get so amped up, we don't know how to calm down. In a sense, we're almost like in a cramp of high energy or anxiety or anger and tension. And there's just nothing fun about that. And so, in this place with high energy where we're kind of stuck in our anxiety or our upset, your heart races, your blood pressure goes up, you start breathing faster, the airways in your lungs widen, your pupils dilate, your skin perspires, and chemicals like adrenaline and norepinephrine are released to really help you try to have a burst of energy to fix this problem. Your liver actually releases glucose, which gives you more energy, and your digestive system actually starts to slow down at that point. So your body is going into kind of the fight or flight response. And once this gets amped up, friends, if you don't know how to use the brakes, it's going to be pretty miserable. Or sometimes we lose our energy and our motivation. So we go to the other extreme where we can't get the energy that we need to navigate something. We can't get the joy that we need. We just don't have the fuel to relationally function in a way that we have joy and peace. And we feel like we're trying to drive down the road, but we just can't press the accelerator to really get going. And this is where we get into this kind of low energy state that's often called the feed and breed system for self preservation. It's just when our rest and digest process kicks in. And what happens is our pupils constrict, or saliva is released to help us with our digestion. Your heart rate slows down, and the bronchi in your lungs actually start to tighten back up as your digestive systems kind of kick in. And so here you're just stuck in this low energy state. You just can't get the joy going that you feel like you need to be able to live life and have relationships in joy and peace. So what relational skills do is it helps us be able to navigate this terrain where we either get upset in high energy with the adrenaline, or we get upset in low energy. Maybe we feel that hopeless despair and we just can't get going. We just don't have what we need. Shame is another example of low energy. We just can't get the engine jump started here. And so what we need is a relational homeostasis. And what that is just where everything is in a state of shalom, right where it needs to be, a state of peace. And we know that when we're not in a state of relational homeostasis, then what happens is we're either too amped up or we're not amped up enough. So we're not in a state of joy and peace, because your brain has to learn to kind of navigate back and forth between joy, high energy joy, and low energy rest. And so, what relational skills do, it helps you know what time it is, and it helps you know what's needed when in yourself as well as in other people, so that we can not only identify it when things are going wrong, but we know how to navigate the terrain. We know how to bounce back to joy when we lose our joy and our peace. We know how to recover, and we know how to recognize when people need a breather. And we know how to spread some relational skills so that the people we love are actually touched and transformed by what they're learning and how they're growing. And so relational skills also really impact our relationship with Christ and really help us to have a very interactive, peaceful, joyful relationship with the living God. So, can you think about times in your life where you were too amped up and you couldn't calm down, or maybe you were too drained and you just felt like you were deflated and you just couldn't get going in the way that you needed? Or what about times in your life where you navigated some relational turbulence and you just weren't sure how to stay yourself in the midst of this upset, or maybe in the midst of a misunderstanding or painful emotions? Friends, staying recognizable as your relational self is actually a result of training. And that's why we train 19 relational skills at Thrive Today, so that you can be the best version of yourself, so that you can love well and you can live in joy and peace. And so that your brain and your character have these relational habits that not only give you resiliency, but help you reflect the living God in the good times, in the high energy times, and the low energy times, so that you can stay your relational self. So, friends, you can learn more about these important relational skills. We have an upcoming event called Spreading Relational Skills. We're going to talk about how to spread the good stuff and what that looks like very practically. We also have a series on how the relational skills address my biggest problems. You can learn more about those, and the links are with this podcast. And, friends, you can just learn more about relational skills and see what the 19 skills are at thrivetoday.org.